Professor Deb here. This is a video lecture in technical mathematics, and it will be on the material regarding systems of equations and inequality. We're mostly going to work in the area of inequalities, but we'll do a comparison first so that you can understand the material. At any time, stop or pause the video and replay to understand the material more quickly. We'll get started. Here are two equations. Now you're going to need to work with your TI-84 or above in order to do the graphing of these equations. I'm going to show you what the graphing looks like, and you'll need to put it into your calculator. All right. First of all, these are both linear equations. I'm sorry, this is a linear equation. This will be an equation of ovals. So first of all, we have to put it into the format for graphing, and that always requires that you have this equal to y. So we're going to rewrite this as y squared equals, come on, where's my equals? There we go. Little glitch there. 13 minus x squared. Now we still need to get rid of that squared. So remember, we're going to have a plus or a minus square root of 13 minus x squared. Now, to graph this, you're going to have to put it in as three equations. As two equations. Y equals the square root of 13 minus x squared, and y equals negative, because remember there's a positive negative before here. And when working with square roots, in some calculators they want you to put this parentheses around this. Okay, so you may have to do that if you get something that says error or something annoying like that. Go back and put parentheses in. I think it'll work just fine for you. Okay, now we also have this one that we have to change over. So we'll have, let's see, negative y equals negative 2x plus 4. And we'll change that to y equals 2x minus 4. So these three equations, this one and these two, you're going to put into your graphing portion of your calculator where it says y equals. And then hit graph, and let me show you what the graph should look like. Our linear one right here is going to have the y-intercept at negative 4. So it's going to go, didn't quite hit that negative 4, sorry. Something like that. And when you put these two in, they're going to be two half circles. One about there and one about there. So that will be your graph. And what we're interested in is these 2 points right here. Those 2 points are the answers for x that make these two equations, that solve these two equations simultaneously. Now, what we could do here is we've solved it graphically, and we can do the function of intersection and find out exactly what those 2 points are on our calculator. We can also check that by doing this mathematically. So let's see, where do we want to go? Let's take this equation, and let's bring it down here. And let's take this equation. Is that the one I want? Come on. This equation. We'll put it down here. Let's stop right there for now. X squared plus y squared equals 13. So this y we'll put in there. So we'll end up with x squared plus 2x minus 4 squared equals 13. Okay, you should be able to square this binomial. Other video lectures have gone through factoring and squaring. Please review them. X squared, what we end up with is x squared plus 4x squared minus 16x plus 16 equals 13. Okay, so we're just going to combine like terms here. And we've got 5x squared minus 16x plus 3 equals 0. Now we've got something that we can factor. Hopefully we remember those factoring skills. 5x minus 1 and x minus 3. Okay, those are factoring of that polynomial. We set each one equal to 0. So 5x minus 1 equal to 0. We can do the algebra and find that x equals 1/5 and x equals 3. So those are the two answers for x. Now let's continue and find out what y is. Here's our y equation, remember. So we'll substitute in those values for x that we just found. And we'll find that as negative 18/5. So our common point, our intersection point, would be 1/5, negative 18/5. Okay, can we find that? That looks like this point right here. Over just a little bit, 1/5, and down 18/5. So right here, we can say 1/5, negative 18/5. All right, let's find the other one. Y equals 2 times 3 minus 4 should give us 2. So let's find our point. X is 3, y is 2. And yeah, that's right about it. Not too bad for hand drawing, huh? 3, 2. So those are the two intersection points. Those are the 2 points or the values for x and y that solve these equations simultaneously, or both of these equations. They're the intersection of these 2 equations. All right. Now this is what you should have gotten out of the calculator. And if you use the underneath trace there is a intersection code, and that uses, we'll find 3 and 2. I'll try and locate a video on the TI-84 for that. Okay, let's keep going. I think you get the idea, though, as to how to solve for 2 equations. Here's 2 more. Now, again, we have to solve for y. So this is going to be y squared equals x squared plus 6. And that means we're going to have that square root again. And this time I'm going to write them both out for you. Square root of x squared plus 6. And I'm pretty sure you need that parentheses in there. So I'm going to put it in there to remind you. Okay, and then we have y squared equals 5. That'll be y equals the square root of 5x. And y equals the negative, let's put that parentheses, square root of 5x. So those 4 equations need to put into the calculator. These 2 and these 2. Neither one of them are linear, so we're not going to have a line this time. But what do we have? Let's see. Put them into your calculator and then check them with what I've got here. You're going to have an arc. Goes something like this. And then you're going to have another arc. Something like this. And then you're going to have 2 more arcs. Now, they're going to come from just about 0. They're not even going to touch here at 0, because 0 won't solve the equation. So they're not even going to touch. But I'm going to exaggerate this a little bit. Come on. They're actually going to look like they're touching. In the calculator, you won't see anything in between here. They'll almost look like they come here, but actually, if you zoom up on it very closely, you'll see that they actually cross each other. So let me see if I can get this one the same way. Not too good an arc there. Your calculator should do a much better job. Okay, now the same as the last one, let's solve them algebraically. Okay. So let's combine the 2. Let's take x squared minus, minus y squared plus 6 equals 0. And let's bring down this y squared equals 5. Let's bring that down into this equation for y squared. So we have x squared minus 5x plus 6 equals 0. Oh, this is much nicer. Now what do I do with a trinomial? Just factor it, right? And that should factor into those 2 binomials. Set each one equal to 0 and solve for x. Okay, now we have to go back and solve for y. So when we have x equals 2, we have y equals plus or minus the square root of 5 times 2. Where did I get that from? Right here. Okay, I got the x here, 2, and I put it in to this formula to find out what y equals. So that should be plus or minus 10. And we can get a decimal number for that, but we won't need to. So our value here is 2, that's x, and plus or minus, it looks like I've done it right. Okay, 10. And then when I have x equals 3, y equals plus or minus the square root of 5 times 3, and that equals plus or minus the square root of 15. So our other point is 3 plus or minus square root of 15. Now, what does that prove to you? If you'd have looked at your graph on your calculator, you'd have said, oh, she just doesn't know what she's talking about. That's connecting right there. But I exaggerated, and I told you to zoom up on this, and it actually crossed twice. Well, we do have two crossings here, right? We have this point at 2 plus square root of 10, and we have this point at 3 plus square root of 15. We have this point at 2 minus square root of 10, and this point at 3 minus square root of 15. So when you look at your graph and you don't think it touches twice, you got to really zoom up on there to see that it touches 4 times. Okay, so again, use your graphing skills, and then use your algebraic skills to question that. Okay, let's see what we have here. Oh, I've just got another one to just try and practice that algebraic skills a little bit. So here's our two equations. We have y equals 10t. Okay. And I'm going to put that value right over there. So 10t equals 15t .9t squared. Now we can go along with this. We're going to rewrite it a little bit so that t squared and we're going to subtract 15 from 10. Okay, now how can we simplify this? But you forgot about taking out that common monomial. You're not the only one. I miss that all the time. minus 5 equals 0. Now we have t equal to 0. And then we have the 4.9 t minus 5 equal to 0, and that should give us t equal to 1.02. So we have our two values for t. We just need to combine that into y now. So we'll bring this down, and we'll bring our first value down. So we have y equals 10 times 0. And what does that give us? That gives us a t, or the x value. We just substituted t. We must have been talking about time or something in this formula. And y equals 0. And then the same thing, y equals 10 times 1.02. And our intersection point will be, this is a little strange, 1.02 comma 10.2. Just move that decimal place for the 10. So those would be our 2 points. I just wanted to give you an extra little time. Now again, because all you'd have to do is, these are already solved for y, so all you have to do is put these two equations into your calculator. There's not really any algebra manipulation to do like we had to do before. Put those into your calculators, and you'll find this is going to be a linear equation, and this is going to be 2 arcs. So, and you're going to have 4 intersection points. I'm sorry, 2 intersection points. It's a linear. 2 intersection points, 0, 0, and 1.0, 10.2. All right? Hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for listening.